Рублей в месяц, да? Поэтому, если вы хотите сделать себе подарок...
Every driver believes it will never happen to them. One normal road, one familiar highway, one ordinary second. And then, everything changes. Tonight, we're diving into some of the most shocking and violent dashcam crashes ever captured on camera. From terrifying highway pileups, to reckless overtakes, to drivers who lost control in the worst possible moments. These are real moments, real reactions, and real consequences. Watch closely, because every clip hides a lesson that could save a life. This is fatal frame cases, and these drivers had absolutely no idea what was coming. The road is soaked, visibility is poor, traffic is slowing ahead, but one truck driver doesn't seem to notice. Dashcam footage from Eastern Europe shows vehicles gradually reducing speed as traffic builds near a construction zone. Most drivers react early. Brake lights begin appearing one after another. But behind them, a fully loaded semi-truck continues at nearly full speed. At first, nobody realizes the danger. Then suddenly, the truck swerves, its tires lock, water sprays across the highway. The driver desperately tries to avoid impact, but it's too late. The truck slams directly into a line of stopped vehicles. The impact launches one small car forward like a toy. Another vehicle spins across two lanes before smashing into the guardrail. Debris explodes everywhere. Metal fragments scatter across the wet pavement. Drivers nearby immediately begin honking and swerving to avoid secondary collisions. One of the most terrifying parts of this crash is how quickly it escalated. Just seconds earlier, traffic looked completely normal. Investigators later determined the truck driver was likely distracted for only a few seconds. But at highway speed, even a moment of inattention can become catastrophic. The wet road dramatically increased stopping distance. Combined with the truck's enormous weight, there was almost no chance of avoiding impact once braking started. Fortunately, several drivers survived thanks to modern crumple zones and emergency response arriving quickly. But the footage remains a brutal reminder. Heavy vehicles require much greater stopping distances than most people realize. This next crash begins on a narrow mountain highway. 2 lanes, sharp curves, almost no visibility ahead. Yet one driver decides patience is optional. The dashcam vehicle follows traffic moving at a steady pace through winding terrain. Everything seems calm. Then suddenly, a black sports sedan pulls into the opposite lane. The driver accelerates aggressively, attempting to overtake multiple vehicles at once. At first, it almost works, but around the bend, headlights appear. A large SUV is coming directly toward them. The sports car tries to return to its lane. There's no space. The SUV driver reacts instantly and jerks the wheel right. The sports sedan clips the SUV at high speed. The collision sends both vehicles spinning violently. One crashes into the mountainside. The other nearly falls into a roadside ditch. Dust and smoke fill the air. The entire crash happens in less than 3 seconds. This is exactly why blind overtakes are among the deadliest driving maneuvers. Drivers often overestimate how much time they actually have. At high speeds, vehicles close distance far faster than the human brain expects, and once commitment begins, there may be no escape route left. Witnesses later stated the sports car driver had been overtaking aggressively for several kilometers before the crash. One reckless decision finally caught up with them. The lesson here is simple. Saving a few seconds is never worth risking multiple lives. Winter roads can transform into disaster zones without warning, and this next pileup proves how quickly control disappears on ice. The dashcam vehicle is traveling carefully through a snow-covered interstate. During heavy snowfall, traffic is moving slowly. Conditions are clearly dangerous. Then ahead, a pickup truck loses traction. The rear slides sideways. The driver overcorrects, and within seconds, the truck spins completely across the highway. Cars begin braking everywhere. Some manage to stop, others don't. A white SUV crashes into the spinning truck, Then another sedan slides into both vehicles, and then another. Within moments, the highway becomes a chain reaction of sliding metal. Drivers trapped behind can do almost nothing. One vehicle slowly drifts sideways, directly into the guardrail. Another narrowly avoids collision by steering onto the snowy shoulder. The most terrifying part is the helplessness. Once traction disappears on ice, physics takes over. Many people believe four-wheel drive makes them invincible during winter, but while it helps acceleration, it does almost nothing for braking. Stopping distance on ice can increase several times compared to dry roads, and panic braking often makes the situation even worse. Authorities later closed the highway for hours, while emergency crews cleared the wreckage. Miraculously, most drivers survived, but dozens of vehicles were destroyed. This crash perfectly demonstrates how dangerous winter complacency can become. Sometimes, the most devastating crashes happen at surprisingly low speeds. This dashcam clip from a busy city intersection starts like any normal commute. Traffic lights, pedestrians, morning congestion. The driver recording the footage slows toward a red light, but behind them, another driver is looking down, not at the road, at a phone. For nearly 3 full seconds, the driver never looks up. Traffic ahead comes to a stop. The distracted driver continues forward. And then, massive impact. The rear-end collision launches the dashcam vehicle into the intersection. Airbags deploy instantly. Nearby pedestrians jump backward in shock. One of the most frightening realities about distracted driving is how ordinary it feels right before disaster happens. Checking a message, changing music, looking at navigation. Many drivers convince themselves they're only distracted for a moment. But at 50 kilometers per hour, even 2 seconds means traveling blind for nearly 30 meters. That's enough distance for an entire crash to unfold. Investigators later confirmed the distracted driver never touched the brakes before impact, not even once. Modern phones have become one of the biggest dangers on the road, and videos like this show exactly why. Late at night, empty roads, powerful cars. For some drivers, that combination becomes irresistible. The dashcam footage begins at a red light, where 2 performance cars line up side by side. Engines rev loudly. The moment the light turns green, both cars launch aggressively. They accelerate far beyond the speed limit within seconds. At first, the road ahead appears clear, but street racing creates danger long before a crash actually happens. Drivers become focused on winning instead of awareness. One racer suddenly changes lanes without seeing a slower vehicle ahead. The sports car clips the rear corner of a sedan. Instantly, everything spirals out of control. The racing vehicle spins sideways across the boulevard. It smashes into a traffic pole with terrifying force. Parts scatter across the street. The second racing car barely avoids becoming part of the collision. Nearby drivers stop immediately. Smoke pours from the destroyed vehicle. Street racing crashes are often especially violent because of speed. Kinetic energy increases dramatically as velocity rises. That means a collision at extreme speed becomes exponentially more destructive. Many illegal street races begin with confidence, but confidence disappears instantly when something unexpected enters the equation. A slower car, a pedestrian, a traffic light, a tiny mistake, and suddenly there's no recovery possible. Intersections are among the most dangerous locations on any roadway, and this next crash shows exactly why. A city bus approaches a green light at moderate speed. Passengers sit calmly inside. At the same moment, a compact car approaches from the cross street. The driver never slows down. Witnesses later believe the driver may have mistaken the light. The bus enters the intersection. Then suddenly, the compact car blasts directly across its path. The impact is devastating. The bus crushes into the side of the smaller vehicle with enormous force. Glass explodes outward. The compact car spins nearly 180 degrees. Inside the bus, passengers are thrown violently from their seats. Several scream as the driver slams on the brakes. Large vehicles create particularly dangerous intersection crashes because of momentum. Even when the driver reacts correctly, stopping such weight instantly is impossible. This accident also highlights another critical issue. Many drivers subconsciously follow traffic flow instead of actively confirming traffic lights. One wrong assumption at an intersection can become fatal. Emergency crews arrived within minutes, and according to reports, rapid medical intervention likely prevented even worse outcomes. Our final clip may be one of the closest calls ever captured on dashcam. Traffic moves smoothly along a multi-lane highway. Nothing seems unusual. Then ahead, a tire suddenly detaches from a moving truck. The massive wheel begins bouncing uncontrollably across lanes. Drivers panic. Some brake. Others swerve. The tire launches into the air like a missile. One SUV narrowly misses direct impact. By less than a meter, another vehicle loses control trying to avoid it. The detached wheel finally crashes into the center barrier with explosive force. The dashcam driver barely escapes disaster. Moments like this reveal how unpredictable driving truly is. Not every danger comes from reckless behavior. Mechanical failures can instantly create deadly situations for completely innocent drivers. That's why vehicle maintenance matters far more than most people think. A single neglected component can place dozens of lives at risk. Every crash you saw tonight started with something small. One distraction, one bad decision, 1 second of overconfidence, and then total chaos. Drive carefully, stay alert, and never assume danger can't appear without warning. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Fatal Frame Cases for more real dashcam accidents, close calls, and road safety analysis from around the world. Because on the road, everything can change in an instant.